Alrighty, Monday morning mindset. How's that? We're in the middle of the month of February, almost dead set in the middle. Of course, February is a little bit shorter of a month, as all of us know, which is okay. Not a big deal. There's still plenty that we can do on a February mid-month. I'm excited. I'm excited right now. I'm going to share some stuff with you guys, especially the ones who have been here with me on my morning mindsets every single day, and you're out there pioneering your businesses and trying to do everything you can to make a successful run at these things that we call our lives, right? Well, we made a big decision to move our main location to Sandy, Utah, and I could tell you, yesterday, Valentine's Day. And we went out and spent some time together, and it was an incredible day yesterday. Nice Valentine's Day. But I'll tell you, one of the most amazing things about it was that we were here in Sandy, and it just feels so right to be here and to be doing the things that we're wanting to do with our lives and making the decisions that we're making to make those things happen. I mean, literally, it was right at the foot of the mountains. Any of you that have actually been here in Utah, Sandy's basically part of the greater Salt Lake area. It's northeast of Salt Lake, and you drive maybe 5 miles towards the east. There's an area called Cottonwood Heights, and it is just absolutely incredible how big these mountains look from this side. It's an amazing thing overall to actually be here and to see that the decisions that we're making, and we're going to talk about decisions this morning, are really equilateral to having one of the most incredible experiences that I would personally say I'm having in my life right now. Okay, I have several different companies. A lot of them are doing really well. Some of them are challenged and getting their feet going. A lot of you actually on this call are familiar with a couple of the companies that I run and operate. But in the end of the day, the most important thing is that the decisions that we're making, the ones that are the most important decisions, are being followed through with a point of resilience. Okay, that used to be one of my favorite words, especially when I first got into personal development, until I realized just how difficult resilience really was to maintain, right? So let's talk about this just a little bit. Get a pen, get a notebook, write down a little bit of information for what we talked about today, and let's talk about resilience and what it really is, and where this power of resilience really comes from. Okay, so resilience starts with decision. You have to decide, and I've been reading a lot of Tony Robbins lately. Actually, reading a couple of his books right now. The one that I was reading this morning, which is Awaken the Giant Within, has a lot of really great information in there about decisions. In fact, I just got done reading a lot about that, and he talks about how if you want to be better at making decisions, you have to make more decisions more often. But that the decisions that you make need to have a measure of resilience, meaning the most successful people make more decisions more often, but they stick to those decisions for longer periods of time. And they give up the temporary outcomes for the long-term outcomes. Like those that decide immediately that they're going to start working out, decide immediately that they're going to wake up at X o'clock in the morning to do it. They decide immediately they're going to start eating better. Because what's funny about people is, whether you know it or not, the better decisions are usually a little bit more organic, and they're easier to get to than you think. In fact, to get better at making decisions, you have to make more of them more often. Okay, because decisions, as Tony talks about, leads to distinctions. Okay, when you've got something that's distinct in your life, where you know working out is good for your body, you've got a distinction that it is, instead of just an idea that you may feel better working out than eating 15 donuts. Right? You have this distinction, this experience, this reality that you can tie yourself to. Okay, but in order to develop a distinction, you have to make a decision. So again, make decisions often, daily, constantly. Then reinforce those decisions by not changing them. Such a weird paradox, okay? And when I was first reading about this, it was hard for me to kind of understand it, but this is how it was explained. When you make a decision slowly, let's say it is to work out, and you think about it, 2 or 3 weeks go by, and then you guys know how the cycles of time work. You just forget about it, right? And then after you forget about it, then it comes back into your head. You think about it. Maybe 2 years later, you decide to start working out. So you finally do it, and then you quickly change that decision after 3 days of not being able to work out to your satisfaction. You're too winded. You didn't get enough results. It was hard, whatever it might have been. Okay, now you've got this decision you took way too long to make, and you changed it almost immediately. You can almost say that sensibility is failure. To live in such a manner is to live in failure. To procrastinate on decisions, and then once they're made, to abandon them so quickly, all of you know, however you may have branded it or whatever you call it, that is a point of failure. Success is based on making decisions quickly, fast, and making real decisions. As Tony says, if you're going to take the island, you have to burn the boats. You have to give yourself no way out. If you're going to decide to work out, do not give yourself a way out and start now. Make the decision quickly and then stay with that decision. Build resilience. You have to be quick to make decisions and slow to change them. Okay? What does that mean exactly? If you have to be quick to make decisions and slow to change them, doesn't that seem like an oxymoron? Okay? When one way you're making decisions more consistently. Let's talk about what this means. Okay? I'm going to talk to you about my morning. My alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning. I can make the decision immediately, right when that alarm goes off, to look at the day in one of two ways. Either, man, it's going to be a long day, there's a lot to do and it's early. Or, wow, it's time to wake up. I'm anticipating an incredible day, I'm going to get on my feet. That's the first decision. I make it quickly, right when I get out of bed. That decision has to be immediately reinforced with my next decision, which is that my morning routine is going to prepare me in order to hold my ground and do an exceptional job today. So that's the decision I make before my cup that I have my pre-workout drink and even hits my lips. So I drink some of that stuff down and I sit down and read for 20 minutes in the morning. And I got to make the decision quickly that instead of standing around groggily, that 20 minutes that I get to read every morning is precious. That is precious time to me. I could look at that decision in any way. I could quickly decide that particular morning, I'm just too tired. And I just want to kind of sit there and recover from waking up so early. But instead, I make the decision that I'm going to have an incredible day, and this is a golden opportunity for me to take 20 minutes, as little as it is. I have different pockets during the day that I read, never during the work day, but evenings, early mornings. And I sit down and I read it, and you know what? This morning even, I got so much out of that. I only read 3 or 4 pages, but man, it spurred a very just incredible intellectual conversation between me and my wife. We have a little bit of extra time right now because we're in Sandy, getting our offices set up. We're currently at one of those temporary residences while we get everything set up, right? So we're working and living out of the same place. Normally we travel to work for 30 minutes, which is something I will miss in the decisions I make because we listen usually to either Tony Robbins or someone like him for 30 minutes. But here I am, not even 30 minutes into my morning, not even close. And I've made 3 major decisions, okay? And you have to make those decisions every day. When I wake up tomorrow morning, I got to make the same decisions. I have to reinforce what it is. I have to build resilience around it because you know what ends up happening, and it takes a minute, okay? It takes a minute. It will become a habit for me to look forward to 3:45. That one's already happened. Got it down. It will become a habit for me to look at the day as something to look forward to, not something that is a burden. Okay, I'm 90% of the way there. Sometimes I feel so overwhelmed that just a particular day I'm looking forward does hurt a little bit. Things are always going to have a little bit of pain. But I'm about 90% of the way there. I almost automatically reach for my book the minute I'm done drinking my drink, like a reflex. It's not even a decision. It's a reflex. Okay, it's become part of my subconscious activity, my subconscious actions. All right, we all act subconsciously based off of our decisions that we've made up to this point, and which ones have been reinforced and which ones haven't. Okay, so you need to repattern yourself for this first thing here. You have to be quick to make decisions and slow to change them. So where am I right now? I'm not even 30 minutes into my morning. I've made 3 major decisions that are going to sculpt the rest of my day. Okay, about 20 minutes in to reading my 20 minutes, I got to put my book down, stand up, and start my HIIT training. And this is a challenge for me a lot of times, and I've gotten much better at it. But I get close to the end of that 20 minutes, and I'm usually in something I really want to read. And I love the idea of putting a book down while you're still anticipating, because then you're excited to pick it back up. So I've learned to love that 20 minutes, folks. Before, where I was like, man, that's not long enough to get into a book. That was what was in my mind. Now I'm more like, wow, you know, this is exciting. Next time I pick it up, I'm going to be at X. I learned to anticipate it, right? And my belief about that 20 minutes became very different. You know, we'll talk about beliefs sometimes here too. But I made the decision enough times that I literally just reached for that book like a reflex. I'm not deciding anymore. Okay, that reinforced habit, that conditioning became permanent. Now, can I destroy that? You bet. By discrediting my decisions over a period of time and just believing that I can marshmallow for a minute and not have that hurt me. Because the minute you start doing anything, you're making decisions. And every decision you make is just like flexing a muscle. Okay, if you make a bad decision or a good decision, it's the same thing. Okay, you're reinforcing that action and that activity. So you have to continue to reinforce your better decisions. And you have to stay on track with those better decisions as being precedent to what it is that you're doing on a daily basis. Okay, so back to where I was at. Here I am now, ready to do HIIT training, and I've got to get in this mode. And I'm getting there to where 2 to 3 minutes before I'm done reading, I start breathing a little bit more, getting my body ready, getting excited, so that I can jump out of my chair and hit play on that beach body training and go hard. Okay? I am still getting better at that. I do it every day. That's a little bit harder to condition than just to sit down and hang out in a chair for a minute and read, right? Because it's intense. That's an intense decision, but I'm getting more automated to it. Okay, I'm getting more pleasure out of my workout the more often I do it with vigor. And I know that doing it with vigor and with energy and force such as that is the way to get it done. I know it. So you have to be quick to make decisions and slow to change them. Okay? I'm going to make those decisions every single morning. I'm going to make sure that I continue doing that until they become habitual, because one particular morning that I don't, I am empowering the wrong principles. Okay? If you want real lasting change in your life, you have to change your state completely. The only way to change your state completely is to experience a focused resilience that is impenetrable. And the only way to do that is to do things often enough that they become habitual and conditioned. Okay, that is the only way around it. There is no magic formula, although this I would call a magic formula. Okay? Think about it. If it's a reflex for me to grab that book, sit down, and start reading at a very specific time, and I'm already in the book, maybe 2 paragraphs in before it just kind of dawns on me that it was a reflex for me to get there. That's a good place to be. Everyone talks about 23 days to build a habit. Actually, I do not remember where I read this, but the actual official time frame is 90 days. Okay? It takes about 90 days to make something subconscious rather than conscious. Okay? You want to look at your subconscious in a very different way than you normally would think about it. Because number one, I was explaining this to my wife. I'm going to tell you guys about what it is, and then you'll get it. Whenever anyone talks about psychology, they get this idea that when they talk about subconsciousness and the unconscious mind, that there are these resources or these mysteries that are hidden somewhere in your psyche. Okay? They're not. They are absolutely and totally active at all times. And what do I mean by that? I'm sitting here talking to you guys. Well, there goes my calendar as always. One moment. I'm sitting here talking to you guys right now, and I'm talking to you from my heart. I'm really just telling you how I see things. I'm using this slide up here as a guide. Okay, resilience starts with a decision. Well, if I just think about that subject in my mind and crystallize it and contemplate it, it is nowhere as fluid as me just speaking to you about it. You ever wonder where your words come from? You ever wonder how you can have such an incredible conversation with a friend and just flow and go into words that go into thousands and thousands of dialogues? It's because your unconscious mind and your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are all interconnected. Where things come from in your mind is a total picture of your entire being. That's why the more you have the ability, all right, to be confident, the less you create a barrier to that relationship. Because our conscious mind is only responsible for about 10% of what we're actually intellectually capable of. A very, very good speaker, for example, that can discourse about a subject continuously has a very open frame between his subconscious, conscious, and unconscious mind. Okay, so my point is that your subconscious is an automated part of your mind where you've finally done something for so long a certain way and have certain patterns that they're automatic. How many times did you have to think about speaking English before you did? A whole lot, didn't you? Said mom first, maybe? Maybe that's the first word. You know, my mom told me the first thing I did was just start spitting out sentences. I didn't speak at all until I started talking in full sentences, which is kind of funny. But we had to learn it, but now that we've learned it, we talk. Because our subconscious and our unconscious mind have filed away language, filed away mathematics, filed away a number of different perspectives on reality that we don't even think about. We just take for granted, really. You can use that same system to create resilience and to create habitual automation in your own actions. What do you want to be? How do you want to act? Make some decisions today. Today we're going to make some decisions quickly about what it is that we want to be and how we want to be, and then we're going to take some action on those decisions. Like I said, if you're going to take the island, you got to burn the boats. You can't be on the fence about the decisions that you make. Making bad decisions, well, there's no way to get rid of risk. Risk will become part of the process every time you make a decision. You have to accept it. Okay, there's always going to be some risk. If you decide to do one thing, you're deciding not to do another. Okay? I do believe that the Latin root of decision is cut off from. Okay, you're cutting yourself off from one thing in order to do another thing in complete and totality. So there's always going to be a little bit of risk in that. But you still have to get to where you're brave enough to make decisions now. What are you going to do right now? How are you going to do what it is that you need to do, and how are you going to keep it consistent to build resilience Make decisions quickly, change them slowly, okay? Decide to work out. Keep at it. Don't give up. Decide to be better at communications. Call as many people as you can. Decide you're going to be a better networker. Deal with the embarrassment. Deal with the insecurities and just deal with it, and decide that you're going to get better at it. Don't give up. Don't give up. Continue to condition yourself until it becomes resilience. Okay, so now I want to talk about that word in general. Everybody has a certain level of resilience. Okay, and that resilience is based off of the things that they've conditioned themselves to be capable of enduring. Okay, endurance and resilience are very related. Okay, for those of you that do work out, you know the big difference between endurance training and strength training. Okay, strength training, you sit down on a bench and you push that bench press, and it's tough and it's heavy, but there's a little bit of a difference between, I don't know, less than 30 seconds where you're pressing as many times as you can, and the 2 hours and 30 minutes that you're running in an endurance race. Okay, resilience equals endurance. Endurance equals success. Okay, you want to develop your resilience. You want to identify yourself with that resilience. The more resilient you are as an individual, the more capable you are, the more money you're going to make, the more friends you're going to make, the better self-esteem you're going to have, the more self-confidence you're going to have, the better communication skills you're going to have, because you've made yourself resilient. Resilience comes through conditioning. Conditioning creates habitual action, which is automatic. You're all capable of it. You all speak English, at least everyone I can see that's on this call right now that I'm familiar with, at least. My wife speaks 3 languages, okay, and she can do it automatically. My mom speaks Spanish. She dreams in Spanish because she spent 2 years down in Chile, okay? I don't speak Spanish, and if I tried to speak Spanish, okay, I'd do okay because I learned a little bit when I was a kid, but I would have to condition myself to see things that I recognize in English as being in Spanish, right? Milk being leche, for example. Juice being Hugo. A dog being a Pedro. A cat being a gato. I would have to condition myself to respond in that language automatically in order to learn it and use it. Just like I have to condition myself to sit down and read that book right when it's time. I have to condition myself to get excited about HIIT training and to get as much out of it as I can. I have to condition myself to get my mind set so that I can focus on communications. I'm being better at that side of reality. Okay? So, resilience. Use that word to your advantage. You need to become resilient. Work on your resilience. Look at it as a total perspective. Okay? Discipline and resilience. I like resilience better because it's more, I say, attractive to say that someone is resilient than to say that they're disciplined. Because a lot of us, we take discipline in our minds in the wrong way. That's because of the side of the world we're on. The word discipline is very positive in Asia, for example, right? Where martial arts is a big deal, part of their culture. To be disciplined is looked at positively. Here, I look at it positively, but being resilient is the same as being disciplined. Okay? Unalterably conditioned. Write that down. Unalterably conditioned. You're not suddenly going to stop using English correctly because you're unalterably conditioned to use it. Okay? You can become resilient in anything that you desire. Okay, you can become unalterably conditioned. And they talk about today. Tony Robbins talks about it with Larry Bird. I think I mentioned this in one of our last calls. Okay, Larry Bird is conditioned for that perfect shot. Somewhere in his neurology, there is a path, a conditioned path that's almost completely subconscious of the trajectory of where he stands to that hoop. And when he jumps and he throws that ball, his accuracy is so high, he hardly ever misses. There's other factors that usually cause him to miss, like someone twice his size trying to stuff him, or the fact that he had to turn a little bit faster to shoot the ball than he was normally used to. You got to throw the guy off completely to get him to miss because he's been conditioned under the right circumstances to make it every time. We can do this with anything we want. When we see that is really the truth, we become so powerful. We look at what we want in life and we feel conquered by life when we don't have what we want. When we tried so many things and they didn't work. The reality is you got to get down to the basics. You can condition yourself to do anything. It's really that simple. Okay? It's Monday. Went a little too long this morning, probably because I haven't talked to you beautiful people for a few days. I missed you all. But we are here now in Sandy, Utah, and we're very excited. We got moving our offices up here to, or down here to Salt Lake City. I actually spent some time here in my youth, and so it's been kind of a refreshing experience so far. But looking forward to this week. Remember, why are we here? We're here to get our mindset. We're here to get what we want out of the day, and we're here to what, today at least, to build our resilience. You can be as resilient as you want, okay? You can be as steadfast as you want. You don't have to waver in the wind. You don't have to be torn to the left and right. You can stand in the eye of that storm, and you can hold your ground. It all comes down to conditioning. You've been doing it since you were a tiny baby. It's natural for you to do it. You just got to realize how powerful it is and use it to your advantage. Everybody have a great day. Hopefully we did something here today that's going to help you keep your mindset. Write a few things down from what you've learned and see how you can incorporate it into your day. And I will absolutely be here tomorrow morning.